Today on Shop Nation is part 1 of the build series for the compact Dust Collection Workbench that's sure to add some serious horsepower to any small shop. What's up, you guys? I'm Travis, this is Shop Nation. Today we're going to be building a piece of compact shop furniture that you're going to use in a garage workshop or a small workspace. So if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I'm kind of in shop limbo right now. I don't have a dedicated shop to work out of, and I'm stuck working out of this 2-car garage. So while I'm in this situation, I thought to myself, what would be a great piece of shop furniture that you would use in this type of situation where you're sharing your shop with a garage? So I'm not one to want to reinvent the wheel, so I spent a lot of time on YouTube researching what other folks have done in their garages and their workshops. And there's a ton of really great ideas out there. Compact workbenches with a bunch of tools built into it. I don't really see the need to redesign one of those because there's a ton of great solutions already in existence. So instead I started thinking about what are the challenges that come with working in a small shop, especially one in a garage. And I arrived at 2 major problems. And the first one is breaking down large sheet goods. Now, even in a full shop like I had, it was still kind of a pain in the butt to break down large sheets of plywood. Now, a table saw obviously makes quick work of making long rip cuts, but anytime you need to make cross cuts, you have to kind of figure out a solution. And in a small shop, that's even more of a hassle because you have less large flat area to work with. And the second problem that I found for most small workshops is dust collection. Obviously, if you don't have a dedicated shop, you probably don't have a dedicated large dust collection system. So the next best thing that I see is that most people build a small dust collection cart. Now, this does the job, but the downside is that that's all it does. It just kind of takes up space when you're not using it. So I'm going to attempt to solve both of those problems with a compact dust collection workbench. Basically what I'm thinking is a decked out dust collection cart that also incorporates some storage and the ability to break down sheet goods. Now, adding dust collection to things is nothing new for this channel. You've seen me do it with the larger workbench that I made as well as the ultimate cabinet build. Everything I'm choosing is very intentional because I found it to work really well. And I'm actually going to be using the exact same setup that I did in that cabinet build. So if you're interested in replicating this for yourself, check out the links in the description below for all of the exact stuff that I'm using in this build. So the dust collection stuff seems obvious, but how does that help me break down sheet goods? Well, that's where the combination of the Kreg track saw and the Kreg ACS comes into play. Now, ACS stands for Adaptive Cutting System. Now, I'm not endorsed by Kreg or paid to say this, but I think it's a great system to breaking down sheet goods, especially in a small shop. So I'm going to incorporate all of that into the workbench along with dust collection. So by creating that workbench with a small footprint, integrated dust collection, as well as storage, you're going to add a ton of horsepower to any shop, not just a small garage workshop. And yes, I have full build plans available if you want to follow along and build your own. So we're going to start with the build plan cut sheets and start breaking down the plywood, or MDF in my case. This design requires a total of 3 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood or MDF and 1 sheet of 1/2 inch plywood or MDF. By the way, if you haven't seen a tool like this, it is such a lifesaver when it comes to picking up full sheets of MDF. Highly recommended, 25 bucks, well spent. Now, right about now is when I'd feed these things through the table saw, but I'm restricted to just the track saw at the moment. So I did buy 2 tracks that I can connect together with this track connector kit so that I can make those long rip cuts in one go, but I was impatient and started cutting before this showed up. And of course this shows up the day after I get done with all the cuts. Oh well, I'll be ready for next time. You can see how much better the dust collection is on a track saw compared to a circular saw. So with the majority of the sheets broken down, there's still a little bit left to do, but I'm going to use the ACS for the rest of that. We can now start assembly. Now assembly starts with the base, which is a 2x4 construction, so we'll get to that first. Having my miter station sure would be useful right about now. Heck, I'd kill just for a miter saw. I do like this about this project though, you really only technically need a circular saw, a drill, and a jigsaw to build the entire thing. So while I'm doing that, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, and that is Surfshark VPN. It seems now more than ever, people are working from home, and if you're lucky enough where your job allows you to do that, your company is probably requiring you to use what's called a VPN, or a virtual private network. And there's a good reason for that. It's because it's way more secure. In fact, it's one of the only ways to guarantee security while you're using an external network. So why don't we take that same level of precaution in our personal lives? So I used to travel a lot with my previous job, and I was always connecting to random networks at airports and hotels and Starbucks. I might as well just been handing out my credit card information because those are definitely not secure. But now I don't have to worry about that because I'm always using a VPN anytime I'm logging on to an external network. Now Surfshark has a ton of really cool features like HackLock ID protection, this thing called blind search which protects your information and doesn't let you get targeted ads back at you, you know, like when you think your phone is listening to your conversations, and you can use it on as many devices as you want. It's truly unlimited. One of the cooler side benefits of using a VPN is that because you can disguise your server as being wherever you want in the world, that means you can see what popular streaming services like Netflix are seeing around the world. Want to see what version of Tiger King Germany is watching? You can go do that. All of this for a couple bucks a month, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're interested, go check out surfshark.com and use this code at checkout for a discount. Thank you, Surfshark, and let's get back to the build. This half-inch sheet is the cyclone separator floor, and I'm just marking out and countersinking some holes to mount this to the frame. So now flipping it all over and getting the floor panel ready. This includes laying out the square opening for the separator to sit down in. Then finally securing that down to the frame itself. Alright, so now with part one of the plans knocked out, which is the lower frame you see behind me, it's now time to move on to part two, which is the cabinet body assembly. Now for this, you're going to need a lot of those panels that we cut out of the 3/4 inch plywood, or MDF in my case, to put together a pretty simple assembly. The entire cabinet goes together with pocket hole screws, so each panel needs some amount of pocket holes drilled into them. This Kreg K5 pocket hole jig with the quick release handle is such a time saver. Now for the back panel, I actually laid out all of the drawer slide center lines prior to assembly. You'll notice some double pocket holes here. Accidentally drilled the first set at the wrong setting. Oh well, it's going to be hidden inside anyways. Every joint is held together with glue, lots of it for MDF, and screws. Now working on the end panel and laying out the openings for the plug and blast gate. At this point, I can now flip the assembly on its back to install the locking casters. These casters give enough clearance underneath the workbench and have a load rating of 300 pounds each. I think that should do it. Now I can start placing the dust collection components into the cabinet. This gives a pretty good idea of the layout. There are some other components that fit in there too, but we'll add those later. All right, we've reached a really good stopping point for part 1 of the build series for the compact dust collection workbench. At this point we have a rolling assembly. I put in the dust collection components, and now it's just a matter of adding those last details. So we still need to add both. Got it. So we still need to add both doors, all the bank of drawers on the other side, and then of course the top. Now I gotta say, I'm really happy with how this thing is turning out so far. I like the size. I think this could fit in a lot of garage shop applications, and surely in my eventual shop as well. When it comes to MDF as a building material, there are definitely things you need to consider, like this stuff is basically like a gremlin and it's ruined forever.
All that from water? They got wet?
Yeah, plain water.
And it also takes a lot more glue because it soaks into the MDF, so just a couple things to keep in mind. But I can already tell that all of the exterior surfaces are going to be much easier to prep for a really good paint job. Alright, so that's going to do it for part 1 of this build series. Everything that I used in the video is going to be linked down below, so if you want to check out any of those products, be sure to do that. As always, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, if you enjoyed this build, if you have any comments, leave those down below. Give me a like. Really appreciate it. Also, if you're not subscribed, make sure you do that so that when the next video in this series comes out, you're made aware. It's been a while since I've done a subscriber update, so let's go ahead and knock that out. As of recording this video today, we are at 82,396 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next episode where we tackle part 2 of this project. And as always, continue to pursue shop greatness.